We're good to go.
Okay, we're good.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks,
All
Eric.
right, thank you so much, Eric. I will call this Monday, December 11th, 2023 meeting of the Lawrence County Prison Board to order. And note that it has been rescheduled from our regularly scheduled meeting that would have been held on the 20th. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Buick,
Present.
District Attorney Lam Kusa,
Present.
Judge Motto,
Here.
Philip Testafine,
Here.
Commissioner Vogler,
Here.
Commissioner Spillier.
Here. Okay, we do have a quorum. Next on the agenda, I will note that we are being live streamed at this point in time, and that if there are any cell phones, any mobile devices, please put those on mute or vibrate. Very good. We have time in our meeting on the agenda for visitor comments. I don't see any visitors here, and we will move to the next part of the agenda, the approval of the minutes from our last meeting, September 20th. I will take a motion to accept those meetings after review.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that same sign. Motion carries. Very good. Warden, we have the warden here for review of our population report, personnel report, as well as we'll go to the approval for a second.
Good afternoon. As far as population report goes, we currently have 131 inmates at the jail. We have 16 of our inmates in other facilities due to court appearances or separations. We're housing 27 inmates from other jails. Currently have a total of 32 females, with our females, Mercer County females, and Washington County females. We're holding 12 females from Mercer County and 12 females from Washington County. We're currently holding 3 juveniles from out of county, 2 from Westmoreland, and 1 from Washington.
How about Lawrence County juveniles?
I have 1 Lawrence County judge came in over the weekend.
Is that at the 600 a day rate?
With the out of county?
Yes.
Yes, sir. As far as the personnel report goes, employee number 6721 was terminated for no calls, no shows, tardiness, and refusal of mandations. Employee number 6746 resigned. Employee number 6679 is resignation. Employee 6767 quit. Employee number 6732 quit. Employee number 6676 resigned. And employee 6777 was also a resignation. During this period of time, there were 7 new hires and 2 rehires.
Any questions on the population or personnel report?
I have somewhat of an indirect question. The news media reported over the weekend that there was, in their words, a Mercer County inmate who was at a hospital in Erie and escaped or left the hospital. They didn't specify, though, whether that Mercer County inmate was from the state facility or the county facility. Do you happen to know?
Commissioner, what I thought I read was it was a Mercer County inmate that was housed up in Erie County, and that individual escaped from Hammett Hospital.
Okay, so to your knowledge, it was a county inmate, not an inmate of the state facility.
I believe that to be correct, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you very much.
I will take a motion to accept the population personnel report.
I'll move.
Second. Motion is second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Very good. Next on the agenda is the approval of the bills. And I will defer to the controller if there is anything out of sorts or any question that you may have on.
No, everything looks good. I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Okay, we like that. A motion is made. Do I have a second?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carries. Okay, thank you. I don't have anything under old business. I don't know if there's anything. Okay, very good. Then we will go to new business and we will start with the warden update. I think you were with the personnel report, there was a lot of good information there, but if there's anything additional that you would like to add to that, with a specific update, and then we can go to, the item D on the new business if you wanted to do that as well.
Yes, Commissioner. We're still currently operating with a backup generator at the jail. We have an expert coming in to try to figure out what exactly the issue is. Hopefully it'll be in this week because we are paying a large amount of money each month to rent that one. The hot water holding tanks to replace our old tank. 2 tanks have arrived, and we're trying to figure out exactly how we're going to get it to the second floor. They both weigh about 1,000 pounds. And, they're pretty big. But we're going to figure it out. We have a good maintenance department over there that's going to come up with a dolly system to get those up there. It's a much
I
needed.
heard the rumor that nobody wanted to ride the elevator with the tanks.
Not with those pounds. We're rated for 3,500 pounds on those elevators, but I'm not raising my hand.
Okay.
As you know, we have the camera upgrade going on. We're approximately 75% done with the new camera. The new cameras look outstanding. Again, was a very much needed. Again, we have numerous maintenance projects going on, and I can't say enough about the maintenance department over there. They're just really dedicated, and they know what they're doing over there. They've made so many different improvements to the jail. It's been amazing. Tech 84 body scanner. We are still waiting on a few parts. There's a few parts that were damaged in transit. So as soon as we can get those up and running, we'll start with the Tech 84 body scanner. Fitments and everything coming in. Currently have 5 employees out long-term medical. The new chiller arrived about 2 weeks ago. We were running on just the one chiller over there for air conditioning system. So we now have the other one. It just needs to be hooked up through Rennick. We're going to hook up the electric and everything else that needs to be upgraded, so we're not putting so much pressure on the one chiller. So. We currently have a MAP grant over there. I think Mrs. Rilla has talked about that in previous meetings. On December 13th, in 2 days, we're looking for approval for a reentry grant, which will run for 2 years. And there's also one other, the COVID mitigation grant that we're looking to get approved for on the 13th as well. So hopefully we'll have the 3 grants in place. We have the 1 in place and 2 additional grants coming. So.
Further, we're good?
I think I'm good, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you, very good. Just a comment on it, looking back on all of the different things all of the different upgrades and improvements to the jail, we forget about them because we just approve them, we come in and we do it, and lucky that we had the ARPA funding to be able to do those things, because I know a lot of the maintenance issues that you're taking care of now were not taken care of in previous years. So I give you credit for being able to do all of those. I know your staff can't take credit. It's a team effort, and that's what makes you the leader that you are, because you you are able to pull people together to do everything the best that you can to get the job done. So I appreciate that. And I know I say it a lot of different times that you do the job that you do and you feel that everything you do is part of the job, but it does not go unnoticed that we know that things are running better and smoother at the facility.
One thing I didn't mention was, once we get those hot water holding tanks in, they're 300 gallon tanks, we're gonna be able to hook up the water softener that we purchased earlier in the year, which is gonna reduce the amount of piping and erosion and everything that we've seen
Yes.
over the last 2 years over there. So it's gonna reduce the amount of money that we have to spend on repairs. So
We saw those. Did everybody see the pipes? Did they bring it to a prison? Yeah.
cast iron pipes that we're
Yeah.
basically eating through.
Yeah.
It's just,
And it definitely things that needed to be done. And, you know, again, the time that you took working with your maintenance crew, working with your the people there, just very, very good work. And I guess I'm leading up to what the next discussion will be, knowing that you have made such great strides there that it's something that you want to go in to talk about the operational structure of the jail.
But before we
Sir?
get into that, just one point on the repairs and the improvements that we're doing. Does it make sense, and this is a point for discussion with the prison board, does it make sense for us to allocate some of the money that is coming in into some sort of capital account for the jail itself? So, you know, if from housing other inmates, maybe we take some sort of percentage of that money, have our controller create a line item, and we house the money there in the event of a major improvement that would need to be done, instead of it being, you know, falling on the county's shoulders, to have some money set aside. And if we're doing this on a monthly basis or however the money comes in, that it could accumulate to some amount that makes sense to have in reserve. I don't know if that's a possibility, if that's something that makes sense.
it makes perfect
It
sense,
makes it right,
Mr.
yes.
Attorney. I mean, it's, you know, we generate almost $100,000 a month in housing out of county inmates. Like you said, I mean, projects could come up anytime. I mean, even this generator, I'm not quite sure whether it could be repaired or whether we're not gonna have to purchase it. And taking some of that money that comes in each month, a percentage of it, and placing it into a capital fund makes perfect sense to me.
Well, but we do have a capital line item already in the budget, which covers the entire
With
county.
a capital fund, separate fund from the general fund, yes.
Yes.
Capital fund, yes.
And that capital fund is utilized when any department might have a capital need, whether it be the jail, whether it be CYS, whether it be public safety, or anything under this roof. I hear what you're saying. I want to think about it, because I'm a little bit reluctant to, no disrespect, but to take one department and create a specific line item for that department only, when we could have some other departments that could come in and make an equally convincing argument. Whereas what we have right now is all encompassing. The money's there. You've not been denied anything, to my recollection.
No,
You've had capital needs. We've been able to utilize these dollars from the capital operator, the capital fund.
Mhm.
But I defer to the controller because he has a better handle on it than I do. So maybe I hope I didn't
No, I mean,
misspeak.
we do have a separate capital fund that has, like you said, money in it for any capital needs throughout the courthouse. Whoever requests them, that's up to the commission to decide if they want them or not. What Mr. Lamacuz is saying can be done,
Mhm.
but it, you know, it can be done either way. We can do it both ways. We can do it one way or the other. So I mean, it's not like it's only it can't be done, but yes.
I understand that you can do it, but then is the director of public safety going to come to us next and say, I've got this separate building up here and it has capital needs. I want a special line item created for my building / department.
Right. I mean, there are, in the capital fund, each department does have their own line item. Now, there's not necessarily anything in it.
Right,
I mean, because that gets budgeted on a per need basis,
yes.
but there's not necessarily anything in it, but they do have one. But like you said, if we're gonna put money in there every year for the jail, is somebody else gonna want money in theirs, that's
Mhm.
a valid point.
That's what gives me a little bit of pause.
I guess the only thing that I thought distinguished it, and I could be wrong, is that are those other departments that have capital funds, are they actually generating money independent of the county? You know what I'm saying? Like this money is coming outside specifically to the jail.
I will say that the money that, the way the budget was formulated for 2024, the money that the jail is bringing in is in there as a revenue, not necessarily just for the jail, just a general fund revenue, helping to balance the budget as a whole.
Gotcha, okay,
So there would have to be an adjustment made to do what you're saying.
okay.
You know what I mean?
I didn't know if the revenue was taken into consideration in the formulation of the budget, but okay, I
Yeah,
understand.
there would have to be some type of adjustment made on the expense side to
Right.
do what you're saying, because
Right.
I believe 100% of that revenue was used to balance the budget as a whole, not just for the jail.
That's
that
my
makes sense.
understanding.
And then if the revenue were to exceed that number,
Yes, then you could make an amendment to the budget to do what you're saying, or. They can do whatever they want. Yes.
I see,
Yes.
okay. I didn't understand how the process worked, so thank you.
I could understand if we had a board of commissioners who, on a regular or periodic basis, denied your requests for the improvements that you've needed. But again, under this board, I don't recall that ever happening. I think anytime you've come to us, and your requests have been very legitimate and very necessary. But, and I realize too that you get a new board, they may have a different philosophy, but I think it's safe to say this board has been very supportive of your capital needs, and I don't think we've ever turned you down.
No, you have, Commissioner, and myself and the staff over there have been very appreciative of your support and willing to work with us and to give us what we need to run the jail on a daily operation. So we've made a lot of improvements over there that were necessary. And like you said, this prison board and commissioners and everybody's been very supportive, and I do appreciate that. So thank you.
I would say if we get to a point in time where there are issues that might justify doing what you're proposing, right now, I don't see that, in all candor. But that day could come, and then maybe then we would want to, obviously in consultation with the controller, anything financial, I look to him. But my only concern is how would this affect other departments that also have capital needs? Could you make the argument that again, public safety, they pull in money not from other counties per se, but they do pull in dollars through a good number of grants
Right.
that primarily come
They
from
get
the
their money from
Commonwealth.
state, yes.
So we could also make that argument, that we take some of that grant money and create a line item specifically for the public safety department. And that's my fear, is where does that stop? I think as long as you've got a board of commissioners who are willing to consider the requests of the jail as it relates to capital needs, and as long as the dollars are there to meet those requests, I'm comfortable right now. But again, I do look at my friend, Mr. Prestipine, because he's a CPA and I'm not. So,
I mean, like, as I said, as of right now, the way the budget's formulated for 2024, unless you take from somewhere else, there really isn't any room to do that, right, for 2024. at least.
Right.
Now, going forward, and like you said, if they're bringing more than what's budgeted for, then maybe it's an option.
Right.
But as the way the budget is, as of right now, is there really, unless you, I don't know what amount we're talking about, but whatever that amount is, would have to come from an already existing line item to be moved over to capital, because it's already budgeted based on those numbers.
and I'm hopeful that the two incoming commissioners will recognize that the jail is a large item in our budget overall. If of all the departments, it used to be the largest, it might still be. Thank you. And the fact that it's one of two departments that never shuts down, that and 911. So I'm hopeful that the new commissioners, and while they will be a minority of this board, they will be a majority of the new board of commissioners. So their their perspectives are going to be very important as far as how they will ultimately work with the jail. My hope is, and my assumption is, it's going to be favorable. I think they'll be favorably inclined based on what I've talked with them about so far. So I don't have any concerns, but it remains to be seen.
Maybe one of them will want to be chair. Oh, no takers, somebody, not even making eye contact. Any further discussion on that?
I was just gonna say, I actually like that thought a lot, but I was gonna say the
It's
timing of it,
important.
and I like it because we've just introduced the 2024 budget.
I didn't realize that it was, the revenue was factored into the
Right.
current budget.
But-
so then
but
you
I-
can't.
I won't be here to vote, unfortunately, but I do like the idea that
Mhm.
as 2024 goes on, if, say, by the fall, the jail has generated additional revenue above and beyond what was budgeted, then maybe setting up the 2025 budget, set up a capital reserve specific to the jail with those excess funds. I think that might be a prudent idea. But it's just, we can't do it timing wise because 2024 budget's already been proposed as is. But good thought.
Makes sense.
Definitely. Anything further on that? Okay. All right, then we will go to, under new business, the part B, discussion and possible vote to improve the management and operational structure of the jail. I will defer to you, Warden, and if there's anything further that you need.
Commissioner, what I'm looking for is approval to fill the deputy warden positions, deputy warden for operations, and a deputy warden for security for the jail. When I took over 2 years ago, our population ranged from 60 to 80. As of a few weeks ago, we actually hit 180. So the amount of work and the amount of resources that we need over there, I just believe that those two positions being intact and that working at the jail would help improve the overall operation of the jail. I've been in consultation with Mr. Vanasco, and it is in my budget to fund those two positions. Like I said, in those last 2 years, we have taken on the housing of Alger County, which takes up a tremendous amount of time, the current staff over there. And I just believe that a deputy warden of operations and a deputy warden of security would help improve our efficiency over there. Programming 2 years ago with COVID and everything like that going on, we really didn't have that. Programming right now with the case managers and the counselors and everybody else that gets into programming over there, it's nonstop. We
How
really
many
don't need.
different positions are there with the counselors and the grants? I know Lisa Zarilla, and there are 3 counselors, plus now there's a mental health liaison for courts,
Yes,
all of those.
we have 2 counselors, we have a case manager, Ms. Zarilla, and with the grants going on, we have additional staff that actually run programs and introduce the programming for the programming needs. We've seen a large increase in mental health commitments over there. And like you said, through MHMR, we do have that position where she comes over periodically and assists in the programming with those individuals.
I think it goes without saying, the security, deputy warden of security, with the increase in the inmates and the programming and the movement of inmates to and from different places, that in and of itself is a necessary position as well.
These were 2 positions that were previously, I think maybe currently, I haven't actually looked at it, on the folks over there. And I'm just asking to do that. And like I said, I've had conversation with Mr. Vanasco to be able to fund those 2 positions over there.
And you can fund it within your budget as it is now?
Yes.
Are you allowing questions?
So yes, absolutely, discussion, please.
Thank you. You know, when you came on board, I believe, well, we still do, you just noted that there are deputy positions on the books. And during your tenure, we did move away from that. You've cited the reasons why. But what do you do on days, let's say when you take a well-deserved vacation day, or if you're under the weather, who becomes, is it one of the captains that becomes, for lack of a better term, the person in charge in your absence?
Well, even when I do take days off, that phone don't stop. But I rely heavily on the staff that work over there. The captains step up. You know, if I would happen to go to a warden's conference or something like that, I place one of those captains in a position to run the jail. When things come up, they call and we have a discussion. But everybody over there has stepped up and is basically doing twice as much work as they did before. Our records department, with our court hearings and trying to schedule that's a full-time job in itself, especially with housing out of county inmates, coordinating the court appearances and things like that. It's pretty much a team effort over there right now, trying to pick up the pieces and effectively and efficiently run the jail each and every day. But sometimes it is a little trying.
I will note that the three commissioners and the controller, by virtue of being permanent members of the salary board, at least I'm not surprised by what you're asking, because there was conversation about this at a recent executive session of salary board. However, two of our prison board members were not part of that discussion. So I'm glad you're bringing it up today, so that they're aware of it and can offer their input as well. But I understand your need. You've made, I think, a good argument, a good case for it. And I take comfort in knowing that you've worked with the county administrator from a budgetary standpoint. Is it my recollection that your part-time line item is such that you might be able to take some dollars from those part-time line items that you're not filling?
Yes, Commissioner, because over the last 2 years, we really haven't completely filled those part-time positions. It's hard to get individuals that want to work part-time at the jail, unless it's somebody that's retired or anything like that, but only being part-time and not receiving the benefits.
Right.
Makes it very, very difficult to fill the part-time positions.
Well, I thank you for your responses. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Commissioner Skillvogel.
We rely on that institutional knowledge that you have, Dan, to make those observations. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Any other questions? Yes.
Just one other question. If you look at the minutes that we just approved back in September, the population was up to 181. This month it's back down to 131. So even though it fluctuates, you're saying overall the trend has been generally upward. Is it possible to get a bar chart to show like what the moving average has been over the past 24 months?
Yes,
To me, that would be helpful just to,
we have something what's called an ADP. It's the average daily population.
I'd like to see like longer term trends. Just like, I mean, the stock market goes up and down, but you can look at over a year or 3 years or 5 years, what the general trend has been. That would be helpful to me.
I would like to say, as a user of the jail services, one of the biggest problems that we encounter, and I'm speaking generically for law enforcement and the district attorney's office, is that only the warden has a bird's eye view of the entire operation, and that the captains do the best they can, but they have other priorities, other jobs. And so where we run into some problems, and I am even reluctant to call them problems, but challenges, is if the warden, for whatever reason, is unavailable through no fault of his own, who do we turn to? And, we're turning to a captain, which again, the captain does the best job that they can do, but oftentimes it just results in trying to get the warden to get the answer, and to have another person that would have a bird's eye view of, whatever the particular area is, would be helpful from the law enforcement side of the house. Now, again, that doesn't address the financial concerns or the, you know, the future viability, but in its current state right now, it's kind of a one-man show, and that's a bit problematic.
And I might add to what Mr. Lamacusa said, you know, most departments in county government do have a chief deputy. For example, and not to pick on Mr. Prestipine, but you have a chief deputy.
Correct.
And in your absence, that individual takes charge, so to speak. And that's true with most of our row offices. I know you have assistant district
I'm a
attorneys.
first assistant.
First assistant, so
Yes.
there you are. So
Yes.
when you're absent for whatever reason, that individual moves in temporarily with the understanding that the buck still stops with you.
When I had COVID, she ran the whole office.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and again, yours is around the clock operation. So I can appreciate your reasoning for this request.
If I could add, Commissioner, a lot of the county jails that are in similar size of ours, they have 2 deputy wardens. And, you know, I've had some of the wardens come back to me and say, what are you doing? I mean, how are you getting this done? And again, I rely heavily on the staff over there. And I can't say enough about them. They've picked up the pieces and got the job done.
And I think even as the warden, you've gone above and beyond, even, you know, using your connections with the different wardens that you are friends with, comrades, whatever, that knowing that there's a need for placement of different inmates, the females, and or where we've taken up the banner for housing the interest of justice juveniles, that you know, those weren't things that you necessarily had to do, but knowing that you did them, and as successful as they are, that the need to have the assistance is you know, easily seen in that arena. Also with the you know, on the grant side of things, you have a great staff that you know, handle the grants, do the work. You know, I don't have to say anything to my fellow commissioners as far as where the you know, the priorities for CCAP for this year coming up, other than, you know, the 911 funding. The next 2 things are mental health issues with the you know, the base dollars being increased and inmates with mental health issues. So I think that in applying for those different grants and working with the inmates and establishing programming, that we are falling in line with then also being eligible to receive additional funding through the grants and monies that we are very hopeful that will become available to do more for the inmate population, as well as the reintegration into society, to making sure that they get what they need as well. So I think you've gone above and beyond for that, and definitely the assistance is warranted.
There are a lot of grant opportunities out there, and I've sent staff to trainings to be able to write grants, and it's really been beneficial for us. And again, I can't say enough about the staff over there that work with those grants and seek out additional grants. But there's money out there to be had.
Did we approve like the application for an $800,000 grant or something?
That's the reentry grant,
Yeah.
Commissioner.
So hopefully that, and if we're counties that go after it and others don't, then, you know, good for us and shame on them, and we like it that way, right?
Well, that's what happened with the opioid. Was we were scheduled for $94,000. It was a non-competitive grant. We were scheduled for $94,000 here in Lawrence County. We submitted everything we needed to submit, and they came back and said that there was additional money because counties didn't take advantage of that grant money. So I'm sure it's going to be over $100,000 that we will give for that one. Like I said, it's non-competitive.
Excellent. Okay. Any more discussion? Do we need to make a formal vote to move to allow the warden to move forward with these positions if the approval comes from salary board? I'm just not sure what we need to do, or is it enough that we just allow the warden to continue the management as he sees fit? I'm not sure what next steps would be. We are the advisory board, yet it goes to salary board for the actual.
What would be a motion to authorize the warden to fill those 2 positions, then if he doesn't think the existing, there is a resolution which sets the base pay, it may be insufficient, that he'd have to ask.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Okay.
Positions exist. Like I said, they're already there, so what,
Okay.
I guess we'd have to, what are we recommending to salary board to change the salary, I guess. Recommend.
Okay,
But we can't recommend them to create them, they're already created.
correct, okay, that's right.
Madam Chair,
To fill them.
Can I move to go into executive session to discuss what the current salaries are for those positions? Or what's the procedure?
If you have to name names, I think you can go into executive session. I mean, the salaries are currently a matter of public record. I'm not a lawyer.
You're probably right.
The positions are vacant.
I believe
So-
that the last salary for, that I looked from the last resolution, I believe the base salary was at 56.
It's 50 something, I don't have.
Okay, I think
For both
56.
deputy positions?
Yes, that was in 2016. So I believe that if those positions, if what was discussed prior, or if there's a number that you bring up was,
Commissioner, there is a base salary of approximately $58,000 for the captains over there currently.
I see. So would it suffice to say a number?
I'd like to hear what you're recommending.
I'm recommending $70,000 for the deputy of operations and $70,000 for the deputy of security.
You know what the captains made back in 2016? I know that's kind of a crazy.
2018, when I was a captain over there, my base salary was between 56 and 58,000.
But really, that's a salary board decision, right?
Right.
It's not a prison board decision.
So,
But I think it would help salary board if we knew what the recommendation of the prison board might be. I'm just speaking as one member of
Correct.
salary board, but
Okay.
I think it would be helpful as a salary board member to know what the wishes of the prison board are and the warden for that matter.
so shall we say, that based on the warden's recommendation, that those positions, the recommendation be that those positions be filled at the base rate of 70,000 each?
Correct.
Do they have that in the form of a motion? Or is it suffice to say, to vote to say, yes, we make that recommendation?
I would make that motion. And I think maybe the wording should be that the prison board recommends to the salary board that the base rate be set at 70,000 for each position.
Okay, because we here are saying you can fill those positions. We need salary board to set the base rate. So that is the motion then, to set the
I'll make
base
that
rate
motion.
at 70,000. Is there a second?
A second motion.
Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed? Motion carries. We're back again to visitor comments. We don't have visitors here.
Oh,
No need- Go ahead.
I'm
Sure.
sorry, I should have asked this
That's okay.
15 seconds ago. Assuming the salary board takes positive action on this recommendation for those two positions, then would your next step be then to advertise and conduct interviews for those two positions?
Yes, Commissioner. I would have the job descriptions done, and I would post the positions and then conduct the interviews.
And I'm assuming since they are management positions, they're not union positions, I'm guessing.
Correct, Commissioner.
Thank you, appreciate your letting me
No problem.
ask that.
I've said it before. The institutional knowledge you bring is great.
You're too kind.
No need for executive session. Pending any further comments from any of the prison board members, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Well,
Oh,
I'll say, Madam Chair, I would like 5 minutes to executive session.
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Because
Let's say
I,
what purpose? Personnel?
personnel, I just have a few questions. If no one else has any, that's fine, but I had a few questions that I thought of.
I also have a person on that.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of going into executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries, and we'll not go into executive session.
Yeah, just one minute.
Please,
Just go fast.
mine will be real
Yes,
quick
we have
too.
to, do something.
Sure, we shut it down.
Looks like you got it.